does it. It's special. Oh, that's awesome.
All right, hello everyone. Welcome to another episode of Damage Control. My name is Mookie, joined here again with Darth, Beaver, and Menace. And we're coming live from Twitch here with another episode of Damage Control. And those that want to join us live, we do this every Sunday mornings from 8 a.m. or we start at 8 a.m. and roughly take about 30 to an hour minutes of the show. But let me introduce the boys here. Darth, how are you doing?
I'm doing really, really good. Good morning, everyone.
Very good. Menace, how are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. Good morning.
All right, man. Good. All right, so to go over to the show, the topics today that we're going to be hitting on is going to be, as always, we're going to go through the blog post, Friday's blog post. Not much information this week, but we're still going to go ahead and just kind of highlight the events that are coming through to help you guys prepare for the upcoming days of MSF. Also, we're going to recap the Web Warriors, which is kind of like that little theme of our little pre-show video. So we'll kind of recap, kind of see how we did amongst the Spider-Gwen Blitz, the Scarlet Spider Fresh Horizons, and the Spider-Punk Rock and Roll event that just got kicked off too. And then the other two topics, briefly, we'll also touch on Pocket Dimensions, kind of give our thoughts, opinions off of it. And lastly, we'll end with our, I won't say it's a weekly segment, but War Instincts. It's kind of one of the segments that we're going to try to be a little bit more active as far as putting to our week-to-week shows. So a lot of the shows going to be talking about War Instincts and just kind of what we see, the do's and don'ts, proper etiquettes, just kind of our theory about the right mannerism to go into your alliance war with. All right, but yeah, let me cut off the music here. Shout out to my boy Chrono Theory for getting us that. And let me go right into the blog post here. So on the blog post here, not much. I mean, it was funny. Like the biggest thing that I took off of it was some just kind of recapping the Avengers Tower and just they're going to be looking to implement this from every 5 to 6 weeks. So to me, that's roughly about like every time that they have a what is it called that they upload to is the I can't even think of the word. Can you think of the word, Darth? Like when they give you the patch. It's like about like a patch period. Is what it sounds like. Every patch will have a tower event. And let's see. And then of course for the newbies, like I noticed one of the things as I kind of listen to our show here, guys, is that maybe we should kind of also give emphasis to the new players that may catch us. So any of you guys that have not unlocked Invisible Woman, it looks like she's going to be the next legendary character to come out there. And that kind of leads into the weekly events. So those that are looking to get Invisible Woman, the Sinister 6 charge are going to double up today during the reset. So you're able to go ahead and start farming on the Sinister 6 characters. Then this Goddess Blitz that's going to be rolling out on Monday is going to be for Storm. The other Blitz, which is more kind of the bigger news that some people are excited about, is the Silver Surfer. So he's going to have his own Blitz release or, shards on Thursday. So us guys, we could take a break on our blitzing, I think. And this other one right here, this is kind of the, man, they've been rolling this one out. So I want to kind of pause off of these training modules. How have you been taking advantage of this one, Darth? Have you been excited about the double drops on the training modules from the campaigns?
That's a major choke point for me to hurry up and get my characters to level 85. So yes, every time there's one of those, I will sometimes even spin into the 100 refreshes on my regular energy and make sure that I hit all of Doom 4, even the nodes I don't need the stuff on. Because the Doom 4 campaign pays much greater training match than any other node.
Yeah, and I think that's Menace's choke point too, right, Menace? Are you farming these hard?
I actually got kind of lucky. I've been getting a lot of out of my training orbs, the gold hits, so I'm getting good. But I have I'm hitting a gold choke point more than training mat right now because I've been getting lucky in my training orbs.
Yeah, so that's going on, and I guess the theory behind that is just to help those that are looking into the pocket dimensions to power up the Resolute characters. This kind of theory. So I want to say last week there was 2 drops on those. Here comes a third one on Monday. So on at the server reset on Monday, that starts up again. Let's see, and then of course on January 20th is when we're gonna get that payday. Well, I'm sorry, this is where the double character shards come up for the the mercenary characters for the payday event, and then that 21st is when the actual event rolls out for those chasing gold. So that's about it. I mean, not much of any information, but like kind of Darth said pre-show, this blog post was about what was missing. So what do you feel was missing from this post, Darth?
I wanted them to come out and explicitly say what kind of release T'Challa Star-Lord's going to be. I've heard that he's going to be a Blitz release, which is fine, but I think that should have been in the blog post. And I really want to know what's up with Tandem X DD5 rewards. Like he's finished it like 2 months ago or something like that now. And I know that they just took the last month off for the holiday and stuff like that, but you'd think that they would have at least mentioned that, because now it's kind of stale and old news. What, are they so upset that he finished it so quick that they're just not going to follow through with their end until April?
Yeah.
Very good points.
Yeah, no, you are 100% correct. And I know that's the overall feel for the community that I've seen on the Reddit post there as I just kind of looked through it. And everybody's wondering what's up with the news on that. I'm actually peeking over here to Discord, trying to see if there's any data mines relating to the T'Challa release, and not even on there. I haven't seen anything on there. That's usually kind of where some of the leaks come out. That's kind of how we got the leaks from the Web Warriors and how each one of those individually were getting released. But the only thing, like the latest data mine kind of leak on here is just more talking about Red Stars. There's gonna be recurring Red Star featuring the actual Web Warrior team. So I think they're gonna do like a team. You know how they done that with Black Order, and sometimes they'll have like a whole drop rate for all 5 characters together. So sounds like that's the only news that came out from that side of things. But all right, well, let me jump over to the next topic then. Here's a screenshot of my Pocket Dimension team, and that's kind of the questions I want to lead off first with you guys. So Menace, who did you go in there with your Resolute characters? Which ones did you choose for Pocket Dimensions?
So I took Omega Red, Cersei, Scarlet Spider, Storm, and Magic, and it was pretty easy.
Okay. And I think Darth used Storm and Magic, is that correct?
I did I wanted to play. I used it just to play. I used it to charge up Storm to 20 charges on like the first 2 or 3 nodes, and then I switched out to basically the team that you showed there until the last node, and then I brought in Storm to wipe a whole wave, which I didn't even need to do, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you brought in Storm, was it the very last node, or when did you use her ultimate?
Yeah, I used her for the first 3, and then I just brought her in on the last node, and I took out Shuri on that team you had.
Okay. Now,
you guys, you don't have to for anybody. You don't really have to sit on her Storm charge. She gets a lot between matches.
I did it literally just for shits and giggles. Like if I do a speed run, I won't even put her on the team tonight.
Cool.
Now, Menace, what was your overall impression of the whole Pocket Dimension? Did you easy? I guess it's kind of 3 folds. Well, I shouldn't even ask 3 folds. I mean, you can just tell me directly. What was your impression? Did you like the Pocket Dimension?
Oh, I loved it. I thought it was a fantastic, easy way to do it. It wasn't like Dark Dimension definitely has the long-term game effect to it, where, you know what I mean? Like, for instance, DD5 is going to be something you're going to have to work at. But I thought one of the best parts of this thing was, because DD5 is still so far away, it's a quick way to get your Dark Dimension taste without, you know what I mean, in the interim while you're still gearing your teams up. The rewards were fantastic, and it didn't take much effort. You were look, 8 minutes is the top right now. Like, I got 8 minutes for all the rewards. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And how about for you, Darth? What's your impression?
I thought for in-game players, it was very easy. I think that the rewards are great for an in-game player, for anybody. And I think the hidden part is, I think that you kind of hit on at the beginning. On our little show here, we don't think too much about mid-game or beginning players at all. We think about people at our level and where we are, because that's where our alliance is and that's where we are focused. So I think that for mid-level players, this was probably the coolest thing ever, because they got top-tier rewards, and they didn't have to be an in-game player. Like, you could finish this if you were level 70. Of course, it says you can finish it if you're level 65, but I assume if you take in level 70 characters, that you're probably going to walk through it. Even without Omega Red, as long as you have Cersei. So, and you may not be able to do it in 20 minutes or all in one day, but you have 3 days to do it. And if you got up to one of the later ones and you took a couple times for each nodes, you could probably complete this thing twice within the week allotted time. And that's really nice for a mid-game player.
Yeah, 100% agree. I mean, I think it really kind of hit the excitement level there for that mid game player. Now, one of the things that kind of came out of this that I heard through the community where there was kind of some mixed emotions was that apparently you have to be at level 65 in order to enter. Whereas the news that led into Pocket Dimensions didn't have any type of level requirement. So there were some people upset about that. They couldn't get in. And I don't know if that got fixed or not, but that's kind of where on that side of the fence, like you said, like we kind of, not purposely, but a lot of times we kind of don't hear the rumblings of what's happening to the mid game players. But that is something that I caught wind of. So definitely,
That's for a guy like me. That's hard to fathom. Like I don't bring a character to level 65 in less than a day usually. So it's one of those things that I can't see the perspective of a mid game player most of the time, especially for something like that. So it's good to hear that I'm a little bit out of touch sometimes.
yeah. So I was bringing up, and it's just kind of the overall mapping of the whole event here, because now that I did that second run, all of the three of us were able to complete it already. So it doesn't show us the mapping of it, it doesn't show us the rewards, but that's kind of where I just kind of close off with. It's just in regards to the reward aspect that each of us individually got off of it. So I don't know if you've taken a look, Menace. Have you gone through your roster yet? Has any of the teal gear, especially these crafted teal gears, did that help you get to level up a player to G16 on your roster?
I am very close. I looked at Doom after you flashed yours, and I short something. I don't know what yet, but I'm focusing on the city nodes first before I worry about like Dooms and Icaruses and all those good stuff.
Same. Yeah, that's why I haven't leveled him up yet. But I was able to get Doom to G16 or he's ready, but I'm not going to hit that button yet. How about for you, Darth? Which characters did you notice that are ready for G16?
I could do Wolverine, Lady Deathstrike, or Luke Cage right now if I wanted, and my choice is no. I might do Lady Deathstrike in the future, but like I'm kind of like Menace. Like I can do Scarlet Spider as soon as I get 2 more augmented Oz formulas, and that's probably going to be my first G16, because I'm literally thinking about going right into the city nodes after I get through the first ones, and he's going to be on my team. So,
but let me ask you this: the why Scarlet Spider versus Symbiote Spider-Man, considering the Symbiote gets the Dark Dimension buff? Because I've been factoring that thing in my head as well.
New.
Fair enough.
I'm just gonna put it out there. I like there's the only thing I can think about to say about that is Power Crept stats, Power Crept kit, and Symbiote Spider-Man may still be the right choice. I may be making the wrong choice, but it will be the better choice for the future of my game because I see me using Symbiote so much less from this point forward.
You're absolutely right. That wasn't me questioning. It was just I need to hear the thought process so I can confirm my own.
Okay, hey guys, I gotta bounce out for a couple minutes. I'll be back in a minute, okay?
Yeah, no worries.
Yep, sorry.
No, you're good. So, yeah, in regards to the characters I was able to get to the G16, they're now qualified for this Doom. And that was off the first run, so I was able to go ahead and get this guy highlighted. Now, after I completed the second run last night, I noticed the other character was this guy right here, Warlock. So I can get him to G16, so that he's part of the mutant. And I want to say there's some other ones that I don't have it memorized. But basically, yeah, here's some Mega Red. So I can get
the Mega Red would pay dividends too, but the problem is with the legendaries, they're the back end of it.
And that's exactly what my mindset is right there. It's like I'm gonna upgrade the characters that I'm gonna start off first with DD5, and that's gonna be the city run. So when we think about the city characters, that's gonna be primarily like the Cloak and Dagger are the ones that I'm hearing are the superstars. So,
yeah. I can.
So like Dagger, I still need to get this Tesseract. Yeah, so I need to get that one. And then when we look over towards Cloak, he's ready. And I'm still kind of scared to hit the button.
I can understand it's scary, but that's not a bad move. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're not gonna hit the button just because you haven't even done the button on Captain Sam yet. So.
Yeah, no, I know. Well, no, so the reason why I haven't hit Captain is because I already hit my gold limit per day. You know how I kind of go about that. So that's kind of where it's at, and that's gonna kind of lead into the next topic here, and it's for Icarus.
Oh,
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, he's priority number one.
I don't know if you saw what I
Did you
stared you in the
just?
face right
Oh
now.
hell, man! Look at that. Yeah, well, there you go. And that's kind of to the point right there that you just did. Well, congratulations to you, sir. Seven red stars, man. No, he's just a beast, and that's one of the things I wanted to kind of talk about a little bit real here. It's not on our agenda, but you kind of segued right into it. It's in regards to Arena. Are you still up in the top 5 with that Icarus you got?
Dude, with the Icarus and the Cersei, they're both 7 red. So I'm just ripping through things.
See, that's amazing. And that's one thing that I've been noticing that I'm kind of running a little bit into obstacles now is that like some of these matchups, like some that I'm running into some that are getting close to you. I mean, like not as high as you. That'll be scary to see on defense, but I've been noticing that there's some 6 red stars out there, off of those 2 characters. And that's kind of been putting me in a position of like, damn it. I don't know. Like if I don't kill them, they kill me right away. If they get their turn, I'm dead.
I'm gonna give you context. Both Icarus and Cersei are like 210k.
Damn, that's crazy. Look, I don't even think. Well, there's something that's a little bit higher. So let's use this for example. So like there's a 7 red right there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's a 6. So this is the team that you get a counter if they got Doom on there, so that way Zemo can ability block, use her slow under passive, and then this guy gets speed up for me to get the first turn. Because I want my Zemo to go first, right? So here we go. We'll just show this real quick. And this kind of like, well, this is the big thing here as far as like for war too. When you face Eternals. Let me see. Is that Darth coming back?
That is me. Sorry, guys. Go jump my wife's car.
Oh,
She's
yeah.
trying to go. She's trying to go to work, and she's like, "My car won't start." So I'm freezing too. I'm feeling my PJs. It's cold out there.
So real quick, Darth. So what we're doing is I'm going into Arena, and I'm just kind of showing the Eternal matchups. So it kind of segues into our War Instincts a little bit, right? This is kind of like a little preview. So obviously on this whole, when you're doing the Arena or any time that you're looking at Eternals, even on War, you always got to factor who the 3 pieces are and what the concept is that your defensive opponent is using. So on this one, again, this is kind of the basic defense on Arena where they put the Doom, their Emma, and their Zemo. And anytime you see Doom with the Eternals, you got to think ability block off the get-go, which is why Zemo comes in to counter Doom for the ability block. And then you throw in Cable, so he gives speed up, so your Zemo goes first. And of course, Emma is just to apply slow and some cleanse if she survives. But this is a 7 red, 7 star Icarus right here. This is a 6 red, 7 gold Cersei. So I'm just talking about what we're talking about is that sometimes I've been facing this uphill climbs where I'm seeing Menace type Eternals. And what's weird is that sometimes if they get a turn, I don't know how it happens, but sometimes they get the second turn and they just wipe me out. But on this one, I was able to go ahead and go first. So do that. Get the second.
There's all kinds of weird things like that when it happens.
Yeah, so at this point, of course, they survive. I go at him because I want to put vulnerable on him. And then...
Yeah, but they survived what? They're never going to go again.
Yeah, they're never going to go in this one. And then I'm going to rewind.
Especially with Cable still up. I lose Cable half the time in that fight and still win easily.
Mm-hmm. So this one, I'll be able to win this one. There it is.
So here's the... Oh, Cersei did get to go before you stun. See, that was weird to me. Your Cersei should have gone before their Cersei again.
Yeah. All right.
But yeah, this is usually where the match ends for me too, right here. Boop.
Yeah.
Boop. Oh. There we go.
Cool. Yeah, so we're talking about, like, when you were away, we're talking about... The reason why I kind of jumped into the Eternal side is, one, I was asking Menace where, well, I wasn't somebody... I was actually sharing what my thought process is with those elite credits that we got from the second run of Pocket Dimensions, where you get your silver and the gold promos. And, of course, right here at the bottom, Menace just kind of had me pinpoint and pat him on the back for that 7 red star Icarus upgrade. So he was able to do
That I didn't even see that.
Oh, that wasn't me being bragging. You said, "Hey, this is what I'm saving for," and I was like, "Oh, I hope I didn't just rub it in."
You know, he did. I was all excited. I was like, "Yeah, I'm saving mine for a 5 red," and he's like, "Well, check out my 7 red." I was like, "Oh shit."
That's not what I did.
No.
Play the tape back.
Nice. My Icarus is going to be 3 red forever. He won't show up in the store for me.
Yeah, well, see, I was like, I've been refreshing that store to try to get him to 5, and I probably this whole week since he's been on that store, I haven't found him one time. So I'm gonna stop spending my my cores for that. I'm done. I gave up. I feel defeated.
Yeah. I probably spent about 500 cores on refreshes over the first couple days and didn't see him one time. It was like, this is stupid. I'm just burning through cores that I want to keep.
Exactly. Yeah. So like jumping right into it, it was real mean. So Miami Sound Machine. Yeah, it's all in love. This is how the guys treat me like my Blitz run. But yeah, so let's kind of close up on the Web Warrior. So we were talking about. I was showing my lineup and where I was at, and I know you asked that question, Darth, earlier, probably pre-show, I believe. But just let me just show you real quick. Yeah, let me just so that way we don't leave you out. See, I have them all up at 70. Like Menace was asking, how come I have Scarlet Spider still, or not in blue and so forth. But it's mainly because how I go about it day by day with my gold resources. I used Miles and Scarlet Spider for that Resolute for the Pocket Dimension, so that's why I geared them up first over her. But after reset, I'm gonna go ahead and get Ghost Spider up there and Spider Punk too. So they're all ready. They're climbing up. I got the blue ISOs ready for them, and even got the star levels climbing up.
Not a one of them are 85.
Hey, man, here we go.
Not a one of them.
I'm gonna jog.
Didn't we hear you say you were gonna spend all these resources?
I did.
What are they doing? Are they just so pretty you can't let them go?
Look, I still got some T4s.
See, that doesn't bother me as much. That's only a character's worth of T4s.
Yeah.
So I get different bitches than Menace. Mostly it's the levels on those. Wah, wah.
Hey, but at this point, like now I can't like counter argue anything you're saying because now I'm on the left side of the Doom Raid. So I definitely need to stop.
Switch sides. So yeah, you need to pump those guys.
I went from walking to jogging. I'm jogging right now. But
ooh. Put on some running shoes, man.
So let's jump into the let's talk about this guy's event real quick. So for those, again, mid-level early game players, whenever you get these campaign releases for the characters, I even kind of waited to do the refreshes, but I already went and I went to the last highest node over here on the hard level or difficulty, and what I'm going to go ahead and start doing is going to start refreshing the actual energy. What I was showing first was actually on the node, but what you want to go ahead and do is definitely waste your cores this way, where you just go ahead and start completing each of these nodes, get all the orbs that you can. And I'm sure that you guys already kind of went through all of this on your day-to-day stuff. But
yeah, I was like 11 shards from putting Spider-Punk up level, so I already did my refreshes and got my shard.
Yeah. So that's where my cores are going to right now, is where I'm going over here. You see, that's 30, running out of injury. And this is kind of where people either choose to stop at refreshing the 50s or continuing and refreshing till they clear up the 100. So, and to me, that all just depends about, you can jump onto Boylan's type videos where he does the math to let you know individually as far as like how you'll be able to go ahead and get your Spider-Punk leveled up to a 5 or 6 or 4. Usually what I just showed right there as far as refreshing the energy every 50 for the course of the 2 weeks, at the bare minimum should get you a 4-star unlock. Sometimes you get to 5 if you get real lucky as far as on those orb pulls. But, I mean, how you like the orbs? We're just kind of capping his event. I mean, you talked about opening them up already, Darth, so have you been excited about some of the other characters that are popping up on the...
As an in-game player, I think that, let's see, I could use Calling Wing, and that may be it. That's the only character I don't have that I saw that's not at 100, besides, the main character. Oh, Moondragon. Moondragon, and Captain Sam. So there's three, and so there's three characters on there. I haven't pulled any of them. It's mostly about the Spider Punk shards for me at this point. They've gotten me used to there being no great characters. This is actually one of the better releases in a few months as far as the other characters in this type of orb. Mm-hmm. So that's good. So there's a chance that if I don't get what I'm looking for, I still get something that benefits my account. But most everything there turns into Ultimus food.
Yeah. How about you, Menace?
Same exact thing. I need the same shards Darth needs, and it's mostly just Ultimus food and give me some Spider Trunk.
Yeah, so for the new mid-level players that are opening up these, though, I mean, it's not like they give them trash characters, though. I mean, as I look through them, all of these are really, really good. I mean,
Ghost and Misty and Iceman, those are all required characters. Beast, I mean, anybody that's on one of your in-game raid teams is going to definitely be useful for a mid-game player.
Yeah, these
I will say, though, that I don't know how you're going to do without Shocker and Mantis. They are extremely important.
Hey, Shocker comes out there for the Invisible Woman. All right, legendary release. But Mantis, I don't know what to tell you about Mantis. Poor Mantis. I don't know.
Dude, that's my second or third 7 red star pull. I'm so sad.
I know, and I got one too, and I pulled it. I just was like, it's so disappointing.
But it's kind of, may as well be a minion. But at least there's a chance for a rework with her.
Right.
Nah, touché.
Now, to jump over to what I wanted to, well, I guess it's real quick. There's 2 more characters that were going on here as far as events goes, and the milestone one was the Scarlet Spider, in which you get his shards through completing this milestone event, and then the other half of it to get him was by going into the pocket dimensions and completing those runs, and then I was able to get him up to a 5-star after the second run. So obviously that's kind of where it ends at that point. There's no more shards to go after unless he gets released a different way. So I ended up getting him at 5 stars. Do you know where you guys got your Scarlet Spider? Is he also at 5? I think y'all both said he did, right? So I think Menace.
I did.
Yeah.
Darth did.
And Darth. And so,
Yep.
So now the one I wanted to highlight over more so is this Ghost Spider. Because last week we had some fun with it as I was going through my Blitz rotation, and as you can tell I need to do one here, but I was pretty salty about the rewards. I ain't gonna lie. I know the 2 of you guys were able to get up on the top 1%, and I came short of it, and it's twofold as far as where I'm kind of a little bit salty of it, because I'm gonna go ahead and bring up this one screen here. Let me find it real fast, it won't take long. But it was mainly because of the Blitz predictions. And of course, they're predictions, right? So I can't not hold anybody at fault for it as far as on what the predictions were. But here we go. But yeah, this was the first one. I just kind of want to laugh a little bit because thinking back on it, this is when it first rolled out. So the average that they were calculating over here was that the top 1% was going to be 36.7 mil. Right. And then they somewhere midweek, like about 2 days later, they got some feedback and they're like, you know what, you're way off on that one. And shout out, I think it was even Seville or Willie. Someone in our alliance even called it out first when I shared that first Blitz prediction. They even knew that was kind of way off. So then this is the updated one off this first release. So they're saying like, oh, it's going to be about 47.8. Well, the reality of it was, and I don't have a screenshot of what my final numbers were, but basically my final points that I got, I want to jump back over here to the game mode, is I ended it up at like right at around 51, basically 52 mil was what I got. And well, it was 51 or around 50, but I was right under the cut. And what I heard is that the actual top 1% was at 52. So do you remember what your final number was, Darth, off that first Blitz last
54.
Week? You were at 54?
I did about 54. So I squeezed in just by a couple mil.
Okay. And Menace, where were you at?
I think I ended it at 63, but the top 100 was 69. Or no, it was like 68 or something. I forget. I was on the cusp. I finished like 162. Mm-hmm. But yeah, like the problem with the Blitz predictions is that some of those guys on there are still holding on to like old information. By that I mean like if you've been doing it for years, you're like, 48 million is where I'm supposed to be at, and that'll be.
That's funny you said that. That's exactly what I thought. One of the guys' names on here because this is the second run prediction. Yeah, that's why they had the Ghost Spider too. Yeah, I would notice like Wolverthor is one of the guys on there, and I know he's heavily on the Future Revolutions game instead. But yeah, so they all bumped up their releases now. Like after that, they're like, oh yeah, okay, the top 1% is gonna be 52. So they just kind of use that average rate. Is where they're sitting at for this next one, which I don't know. I think it was Mobile Gamers, one of his news videos that he says that normally the second run's a little bit lower. Do you think that?
Yeah, that's.
It's the Red Star one you got to watch out for. So
And they're both Red Star ones.
Are they both Red Star this time around?
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
that's I know that's what it was last week because I don't think there's any Mega Orbs that come with this one.
Yeah.
All right. Well, normally it was the Mega Orb one's the easy one, and then the Red Star one is the one that everybody goes all out. So this is new. I can't even tell you this time around.
Yeah, there's Red Stars on this one too.
Yeah, it is. So that's why I kind of feel like it's going to be about the same aggression. I think it is. I don't think this one is going to kind of level down. So, sorry, Menace. I know you kind of took a break from it this time around.
I'm good. It wouldn't make a difference on the star, so
That's good.
It sucks, but it is what it is. That's, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It's 45. You're only literally missing out on 45 shards.
Yeah, that can make a difference. I'm not gonna lie. Like,
it does. That's what they want to charge you for 45 shards. They want like $30.
Yeah, I ain't giving them
Probably $35 for that many. So I mean, it's a thing.
Here, tell Mookie how it's no big deal.
Hey Mookie, was it a big deal?
It was a big deal, man. I was pissed off, man.
I'm gonna tell you what. If I would have missed 1%, it would have been a fucking huge deal.
Dude. Damn, I was. Yeah. And here I am, like, highlighting a video last week, going through my Blitz and all that. And obviously, you can tell they all were pushing me. I knew I was, like, straggling behind. And it felt like I was, like, in that, like, military training where y'all trying to get me within a certain time under the mile. And I just didn't make it in time. And, I got cut. I got cut from the team.
Look at what you did now, though. You got 50 million points right now, and that's 5.5 million or 2.5 million more than I have.
Yeah, man.
Now
I started running.
So you've bumped your score in the last week. You know, not just with the rotations, but you said you used a different infograph to change up your blitz rotation.
For sure.
Is that right?
Yeah. Let me give a shout out to the gentleman that did that. I don't even, I don't know his name that did it, so I had to pull it up real quick. I did a screenshot, so we'll share it over here for the viewers, and I'll kind of share my thoughts off of it, personal thoughts, because this is what I did. I just copied all the way through. The only thing that is outdated about this lineup is going to be the Web Warriors, because I think like Spider-Punk might not be on here, but wherever, I don't know if I can zoom in.
Pathfinder Gaming, that's who the shout out is to.
Yeah, Pathfinder Gaming. I can't find it, but there's going to be one of the lineups here where there's some like Web Warriors, and you could just start kind of plugging in the new characters off of that. That's the only adjustment I did. But other than that, I mean, I all the way through, I after you update your 37 roster off of that and kind of match it up, then the next thing to do is going into your levels and just kind of, having your team power up on the highest on top, and then work your way down to the lower teams. Kind of the same basics that you guys were talking about last week. But I'm not going to go through it all. But my main experience is as I go through it, I've been getting more successful off of some of these wins. And I haven't really gotten down to below the tier 8 multiplier. So I've been pretty happy about it. And that's kind of really contributed twofold as far as my turnaround on the Blitz score, was revamping that whole lineup to 37 roster. And then also, using that guy's infographic off of it, and just being able to find the teams that have the crappy, what is it called? Like I can't even think, I'm losing the word, but basically like kind of where they're just not in the same like they're just like a mismatched team that has no type of, I don't even know.
Right, there's no synergy there.
Synergy, there it is. I couldn't think of the word synergy. Thank you. But anyways, but that's that. So. I noticed that movie.
It's Rush Hour. At least maybe number one. I think they make like 3 or 4 of those.
I think this is number 1, maybe. So I like to use this little intro mainly because right here where Chris Tucker, yeah, you don't know about no war.
Yeah, you don't know about war.
Yeah.
Oh God.
So as we go into it with that, The main thing that we want to talk about today, as we try to get this like a little bit more recurring segment, we're talking about the war instincts. It's just kind of our week to week kind of feel, something that sticks out of the norm, or something that we feel like we need to highlight and share with the community, for those that are catching us. And it's mainly about, I'm going to start off talking about the strategies, just kind of recapping the whole concept as far as, what is the war strategy that each alliance should go into and think about. But then also talking about like the do's and don'ts that you should do individually within your offense or defensive rosters. And also talking about war etiquette. And I'll kind of highlight what I mean by that as we get into the end of the whole segment. But first, just talking about the war side of things. Let me find... let's see, what do I have here? So here's just kind of like the room, that I kind of took a little screenshot of. When Menace and to me, Menace and Darth here are kind of like the main like alliance captains for us that go in there from the beginning. They're over here selecting the rooms that we want to target. What's the first room, Menace, that you're kind of hoping to run into as you're choosing a flight deck to go through? We're not going to touch on flight decks too much, but mainly the first concept is just clearing one side, right? And then trying to see what's underneath it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So in my personal opinion, I'm looking for a defensive boost right from the door, just to kind of to set the pace for everything else, make it that much easier. Occasionally you'll get lucky with medbay. You'll never get barracks, but I'm happy with cargo. Because even taking that 10% off, I'm good with it. Just anything to soften them up a little bit on the first room, I count that as a win.
Yeah. So let's talk about the rooms first. You talked about cargo bay, right? Like that pops up first.
Yeah, I'll drop the cargo bay, and quite honestly, I'll drop hangar too, because it's slowing them down early on a little bit on their attack. It is just as well good.
So here it is, because that's right there. So I brought up the screen as far as cargo, where we're talking about 20% to the primary stats, and that's why you want to go ahead and start clearing that one out. But which one would you say is priority number one? Which room?
The one I want to see dead fastest is going to be barracks. So cargo and barracks are more or less the same now outside of war ready. So war ready is going to be all your main problems anyway. Like everybody who's going to like all the main defenses, they're going to make war ready. I look at cargo and barracks as almost interchangeable. But at the same time, that extra 10% for the military hours and it affecting regardless, it still obviously gives barracks the trump.
Okay. And how about for you, Darth? Do you kind of same logic, same mindset, or do you have any personal preference?
No, the longer it goes, and the more people that have more of their teams war ready, the less of a difference there is going to be between barracks and cargo bay. Mm-hmm. And like to Menace's point, anybody with their big badass meta defense teams, they're gonna have them war ready anyway. So it's almost like the same room.
Yeah. Okay. And then what's the next room that you guys start thinking about? Is it going to be between medbay, security, and
medbay? That's the one I want to take next.
Medbay.
My thought process is we take out every single one of their defending rooms before they take out our offensive rooms, and the more of their defensive rooms that we can clear before they clear our offense, the bigger advantage the entire team has against their teams.
Mm-hmm. I'd agree with that.
Okay.
Like armory's still a major target. The problem with it is it's if you have 3 defensive boosts up, it's a wall. So you're gonna run into the machine gun nest. You're gonna get tore up on it, and at the end of the day, with hangar out there, it's not the sole like determinant on the offensive side anymore. We can hangar now, not go against those massive defensive, and still slow them up a little bit. Like armory is almost like you can leave it sometimes and you can hit it sometimes type of thing now, in my opinion.
What's on one of my concept tips that I had here, and I just wrote have an adaptable strategy, and it was exactly for things like that. Like there are some times where we come down the middle and we run into a triple boosted room or a double boosted room that's just going to literally be the entire teeth of their defense. Mm-hmm. And sometimes you got to do a gut check and say, it's probably best for us and for our alliance where we are to go around this room and remove some of those boosts to it before we go through it. And in the same breath, sometimes you want to leave their freaking armory standing and take every other room. Do you know how many times we get beaten in a war and security and armory are sitting there next to each other, not touched?
Yeah, man. This last one didn't even touch
So
security. Like you said.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So like there's we have to be able to do that ourselves to understand that we don't want to necessarily put all of our effort into their biggest defended room if we're not full clearing. If you're full clearing, if we were a full clear alliance that full cleared every week, then it wouldn't matter. Then you're going through that room no matter what, and you're going to hit it right now as soon as you see it. But as an alliance that doesn't do that, especially as an alliance like us that actually gets in probably 50% of our attacks in the last 3 hours, then moving around those rooms is probably the best option in weakening everything that you can. That's It's not all. I used to be under the mind of a full clear alliance because that's the alliance I used to kind of be in. I used to think just hammer any global room you came to. It didn't matter what boosts they had or anything like that. But I've learned to adapt to my thinking process to it because of the kind of alliance we're in. And sometimes it's better to leave that security boosted armory just right where it is and take out all the rooms around it and then go clear the flight decks. Because as far as your points are concerned, the flight deck is worth the exact same as the armory.
I 100% agree with you on sometimes armory can be left 100%. I still think security needs to go only because it can literally change every room it's touching. Like if you go against like a Kestrel's got defense down, you're gonna get tore up. If you go against like a Heroes for Hire and you don't have a Weapon X, for instance, ready to go, security still to this day can make a game change. Not as much, but I still go for security just so I can know the other rooms are that much easier.
Yeah, and it's not a bad thing. Like this is from our experience of watching it happen to us and having us do it a few times. Yeah, and normally when we leave a room, we leave engineering as far as we're concerned. That's the one that we'll leave at the end of the day. We've decided as a collective group without speaking about it that engineering is the one we can fuck off with.
Yep. Oh no, not defense up. What will I ever do with that? It's already built into every team.
Right? That's it. Engineering doesn't give much of a boost.
Yeah. All right, so now that we get the rooms kind of all broken down as far as the target mindset, what we're going to go ahead and do is kind of share some screenshots here, and this is just kind of more about what we've observed. And I know, like you said, our alliance is kind of the casual competitive. We do get off slow, and the one thing that I would drive to those that are trying to look into the proper way of attacking these rooms is by going as quick as you can to find the global rooms you want to knock out to weaken them, because the faster you weaken them, obviously the opposing team starts feeling the effects when they start kind of losing out their boosted rooms because you're clearing them. And we got a good taste of that this last war. It was for me, it was almost like a thing of beauty on the other side what we faced against. Just on, I don't know, man, did you see like I think like their top 10 or something were all like over 12 attacks each, and I don't think they had any eggs on there. Like all of them were attacking, and I want to say like by midday, I mean, it was just crazy. So they were just cohesive. I mean, that was their type of alliance that we're just going out. We just kind of, again, it was on a Friday, so we're kind of slow as it is already. So we had a lot of things. Anyway. Yeah, we had a lot of things that were just kind of like going against us. But the way they attacked us and the way they took out those global rooms, when we try to go in there, like you said, we kind of have that late push. It was way too late. Like we didn't have any type of offensive boosted rooms to knock out some of the defenses that were out there. But jumping into the next part, just kind of like, I guess you can say like the do's and don'ts of what we observe. And this isn't like micromanaging, but it's just kind of giving some feedback of different stuff. And I don't have it properly labeled, but let's just see what pops up first on here. So here, I'll let Darth hit up on this one first. So what we're looking at is going to be the use of Eternals, right?
No, this is one of the really good guys in our alliance, so I hate even looking at this picture and saying anything. I think that his combat cancel was a good combat cancel, honestly. It's good to save that team at that point, and he probably didn't do anything. He kind of went in with the wrong team, I think, there. He needed to worry more about Doom than about just having a nice big team to try to counter, because it's a new team. There's no ability block on that team, and that's what you really need to counteract Doom there. But what I like is he went up and overpowered it out. Like it was good that he came back and just beat the team because he was frustrated, because that's something that I would do. But I think that at that point with the team he used, if he would have put the two Eternals, Zemo, and any two other characters, he would have still beat that team, and then he would have still had that new Warriors team to attack something else later. But I know more about this battle. This was towards the end of the day. Yeah. He was getting the rest of his attacks out. Like there's nothing that I would ever tell this particular player about this ever.
Yeah, this was late in the matchup and we were down, and I think this was just all about trying to clear a room at this point, as far as him coming up with the concept of mashing up the Eternals with new Warriors. But you hit on it right. Anytime you see Doom here, you start thinking ability block, and that's kind of where, the feedback would be as far as not using his first team, because he's going to get that ult off, especially with the taunt. It looked like they put Blob over there, and then they even have Strife, so they're really trying to protect his Doom to go ahead and get that ultimate off on the opponent. All right, we'll jump on to the next one here. No particular order, so let's take a look. This one looks like we got the new Warriors going against what? So this is good use, right? I guess this is what you would say, like whenever you see the Secret Avengers are going to be one of the strong defensive teams that you'll see. The one thing that was missing, they don't have Coulson on here, so it's kind of the weaker of the Secret Avengers as far as defensive teams
I'm not
go.
so sure that would matter against the team that he took in.
Yeah, true.
Like I think that is probably the picture perfect use of a new Warrior team.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And then as you look at this, Menace, chime in at any point. Do you have any difficulties facing against the Secret Avengers? Do you pause? Like, how do you kind of feel when you see Secret Avengers on defense?
Honestly, I throw symbiotes at them. They're built enough, but it's really the dependent is the Fury or the Coulson, quite honestly.
Yeah.
I have an experience with the new Warriors and how to wipe them. I'm over here thinking to myself, right at this moment, doesn't Coulson's immunity negate the new Warriors? And I guess the Namor wipes it away. So I guess that's how it happens.
Coulson's not on the team that he faced either. That was a Fury team. So
you said that Coulson would have had it though. Yeah, so that's why I was trying to factor that in. Like, what would happen if Coulson was there?
No, if Coulson was there, that might change the fight.
And then the other thing is also paying attention to what room the Secret Avengers team is in, because if it's one of the security boosted rooms with defensive down, you got that Kestrel that's going to start wiping. Yeah. So then
he's got that.
I'm sorry?
That was a smart thing about putting that Drax there, though. So that Kestrel is going to go off and she's going to nuke somebody. And so what if she nukes Drax?
Yeah, that is a really good move. I like that.
That's a great move. And the speed up from Namor, like I said, The new Warriors are a great 3-piece, and the Eternals are a great 2-piece. And there's about 6 or 7 other characters that you can throw that don't have real good teams right now that you can throw in different sections with those 2 teams to make them beat almost anything.
Yep. All right, let's jump on to the next one here. So now we got the Eternals Zemo right here with the speed control between the Emma and the Loki. Very similar to what I was doing that little arena battle with. And in this case, there's the Doom and with their Eternals on defense. So here's kind of the picturesque that I will go ahead and highlight, that this is kind of anytime when you see the Eternals on defense, you're definitely going to go ahead and look at the other 3 that they're mashing them with. So right here, they got the Silver Surfer, which I'm not even scared of when I look at that part. The one that gives me some pause is going to be the Doom. And then, of course, there's Deadpool. So when I'm looking at it here, and this is kind of the theory that I see here, is that Zemo needs to go ahead and negate it as far as putting the ability block onto Doom. And then you got the speed manipulator between Loki that's going to allow your Eternals to go before theirs, and then you just control the match. And I know this was you, Darth, so I would just kind of...
Yeah, that was me.
Yeah, so this, I mean, is this kind of what your feel was? Is just making sure you went off before them?
So there's good and a bad. I think that my side was good, and I think that whoever set that defense did a big bad because he's wrecked 1, 2, 3, 4 teams with what could have just been the Eternals. There's the New Warriors, there's a Doctor Doom team, and there's a Silver Surfer team sitting in there, which are still good defense or offense teams. And he decided to throw them all together on defense and let me punch up 100K on him with basically my Eternals. Like, so there's a couple key pieces, just like you said. I brought Zemo in for sure to make sure that I ability block Doom. You bring Emma in to make sure that both of your Eternals go first, and then you bring in Loki to make sure that Cersei goes before Icarus. So this was a big team, and I wanted to make sure that I killed somebody on Icarus's ult. So I really wanted Cersei to go before Icarus, which is why Loki is there.
Yeah, and I guess I don't know if you remember this particular matchup, but I'm kind of curious. Did the internals ever get to go off?
I don't think anybody went.
Yeah.
I want to say that nobody went on that team because of the way it's set up. That's yeah.
Yeah.
No, obviously somebody went. I took a lot of damage, so who went? Somebody went. I didn't come out of it clean.
I'm
But
guessing
whatever they did, yeah,
It's probably
whatever
Silver
happened
Surfer, yeah.
didn't do much, right? And he probably accidentally ability blocked one of the two Eternals, so they just immediately wiped it on their turn.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's look into the aspect of on this one. I guess
Don't.
so on this one, this is like the don't. I mean, like, so here's where I want to kind of pause a little bit in regards to we're talking about Eternals, and this is kind of get really heavily specifically talking about like Eternals on the proper use of them on offense and defense. And to me, Infinity Watch becomes the next best counter for the Eternals that you see on defense. So I would say, like, what did you say? Like, the Infinity Watch is probably definitely the top 3 war offensive teams, right? In your opinion?
Oh yes, yeah, I'd say they're number 2.
Yep. Right there.
Because the main thing is, like, they're going to be there to either counter, maybe you want to still go after Heroes for Hire with them if you don't have a Mega Red. And then now they are a pretty reliable counter against the Eternals, depending on, what the power level is. But when I look at this one right here, you definitely don't want to use this Infinity Watch versus this old meta defense, right? As far as the Emma Marauders.
Well,
You don't want to. That's a 250k punch down.
No, I'm not saying that's a good move, but what I will say is that the Sabretooth does not make it just the Marauders anymore.
A 96k makes it pretty much the same though. Look at the power level of that one. I know they're all specific, so a 7 red Sabretooth really changes that match, but that 3 or 4 red Sabretooth 6 or 7 star doesn't.
I hear you. I say that in this regard. Like, I go in the habit of going in with X Factor, for instance, and if there's a Sabretooth there at all, he rips through the team. So it takes a win and makes it a loss really quick. I don't know if that's just a fear factor that Infinity Watch thing. That's early in the war. It's a bad move. You're 100% right there. But I will say that it's not like, hey, there's no Sabretooth. That does factor.
Yeah. All right, well, let's jump on to another shot as far as now. Here's the Eternals. So this concept again of talking about the Eternals, Infinity Watch. Those are the ones that are going to counter like the Infinity Watch. So that's my new thing that I've been looking on our war history. It's just kind of the usage. And this is one that kind of stuck out for the same aspect as far as you're looking at a wave 1. And there's plenty of counters that you can kind of start looking through your individual war offensive team to kind of go ahead and counter this particular matchup. So this one, you definitely put the Eternals in there, and then you even mash them up with the New Warriors, which kind of gets back into the flip concept that Darth was stating on the previous image of, I think it was this defense over here, right? You're like mashing up 4 teams. And when I see this one offensively, you're mashing up 2 offensive teams and wasting it on the wave 1. I mean, would you
Right.
right? So this is kind of where
Well, they could have taken the New Warriors and put Ghost Rider and Doctor Strange or Ghost Rider and Mordo with them and wiped that team super easy. They could have taken the 2 Eternals there and put anybody with them, 3 level 1 characters, and put nobody with them and wipe that team with 2 characters.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's a don't. And let's see, what do I have over here? It's kind of what alluding to what Darth talking about, like wasted defenses. So we're kind of flipping back onto the don't. So this is kind of one where we got the Eternals with speed, same lineup that Darth had earlier when he saw the Eternals on defense with Doom. So that automatically brings in Zemo. But then they mashed it up, with Ultimus and Loki here. So there was a speed. They tried to use the speed, and maybe this wasn't like an overly, but to me, on war defense, I wouldn't put, Doom with the Eternals. So that's kind of how I highlighted this one. But, and that's a don't right there. Let's look at the next picture. Trying to go through them. This next one is a little bit smaller pick, but
Same one that we already saw.
oh yeah, we've already saw that one. Yeah,
Yeah, we already saw that.
All right. So what I want to jump into now is kind of talking about the etiquette within war. and it's twofold. And I say this out loud and knowing that I need to be more mindful of this. So this one right here is like, obviously some people still have troubles with Doc Ock. And I didn't go into the history to see what the matchup was, but normally I've seen within our alliance that people are either using X-Force and losing. Sometimes they've been losing still with Shadowland. Maybe it's just the power level or the misplay as far as putting ability block. Who knows? But ultimately it kind of comes down to where the Doc Ock survives. And I wanted to show the proper use of something right here. I'm going to show you, Darth. Because in my opinion, this is kind of what I mean by, like, etiquette. So you went in here in the first matchup, and then unfortunately you lost this one against the Doom. What is it? New Warrior Doom defensive? And then you went in with your Secret Avengers, right? But you left 2 on the board, but you went back and cleaned it up.
Right.
Right. And that's the one thing that I noticed, and even from other Discords and stuff, it's just kind of the cleanup aspect as far as, like, if you left something messy on there, if you can, try to clean it up. If not, then shoot a message to the Alliance, and that's the other thing. It's twofold. Like, let's just say, like, this was one that we lost against the Heroes for Hire. And I know Menace is really good about it, where he talks about, hey, there's no charges left. Like, he communicates that to us on the Alliance to let us know, like, hey, I took off so-and-so and there's no charges left on Colleen or whatever be the case. And just being mindful, if you can't clean it up, or tell someone like, oh, the Doom ult went off, so it's an easy cleanup for someone else to take over for you. All right?
Yeah, that is huge. And quite honestly, it's just consider it to your fellow Alliance mate, because and I only learned to do that from eating how many Thanos ults back in the day. Just going in like, hey, this is a win. Okay, now I'm one shot. Thanks.
Yeah. So that's the one thing I would just kind of drive at the end. It's just talking about the etiquette aspect of things. And I know that's one of the stuff that I, again, I'm preaching to myself because I haven't been mindful of doing that. Because for the most part, I try to do what Darth did here. Is I'll look to clean up my mess, and I got in. No one's perfect, man. I mean, I got into a situation against like one of those Doc Ocks where I'm like, oh, let me try an X-Force and punch up, and then boom, I get wiped. And then I'm like, okay, let me use another a weaker team and try to punch up again, and or punch down, and I lose to the Doc Ock. So I've been there where I've lost like 4 matches in a row trying to clean up. And anyways, but yeah, I mean, I don't know.
That is like, there's a time that people need to know when to combat cancel, and there used to be a time in the game where it was like, don't combat cancel, that's a constant waste, like you're not doing anything good there, you're not even eating. But there are certain examples where you definitely need to get the hell out of the fight and not come back into it, or come back into it with a full team. And that Sinister Six with Doc Ock is a prime example. That team is really easy to counter if the full team is there. If it's just 182k Doc Ock, it's a totally different fight, and you have to come into it totally differently.
I'm talking about the canceling now, just kind of highlights this one right here. So
Okay. That's one of the three examples that I have of when combat cancel is okay. So they're right there. There's an Eternals team, and that team was easier to counter with everybody else there, because you go in with an Eternals, and then one of those other characters will die on Icarus's ult as long as you go first, and you'll win the fight. That'll be an easy wipe fight. But with just those 2 characters left, I think I cleaned that up. Actually, I'm pretty sure I cleaned that up. I tried to go into it thinking that my Shadowland was big enough to kill Icarus before he went, and it was not. So I had to go back in with my full speed Eternals team, and it was still harder to beat those 2 characters because nobody died on Icarus's ult, so he didn't double tap him down and make him go revive right away. Yeah. So like that's another example of when to not combat cancel and leave the team. If you don't kill either one of those Eternals on that team, then it's a waste. And then Heroes for Hire is similar. If you don't kill 2 members of Heroes for Hire, then just back out of the fight and try again.
Yeah, I would definitely say those are the 3. I don't know if you say pet peeves, but basically the harder cleanup is going to be Eternals left on the board, Doc Ock left on the board, and like you said, some of those, especially you see the 3 if it's like Misty Knight, Colleen Wing, and Shang-Chi. Yeah. But
it's basically the whole team.
So, all right, but I think that kind of hits everything. Anything else you wanted to add on the war topic there, or is that? I think we kind of hit on everything.
I I just got a couple quick notes for anybody listening. Take your Fury off of your Kestrel team on defense and put Coulson in there. Just do it. It's a better team. You're not using Coulson for anything else. Fury doesn't need to be there. I don't care how much you built up one and not the other. Coulson or Fury is a liability, and Coulson actually makes that team work a little faster and lets your Kestrel start going off sooner. And if I had one other tip of the things I thought about, man, it was maybe every once in a while do some manual blitz with your teams. That is the one way you get to constantly work on your teams and knowing how your offensive team works and knowing how their speed works and knowing how their turn order works and how you can manipulate the other team to give you just more experience to be more efficient with your own attack or war.
I would absolutely agree with everything you said there.
Yeah, likewise. Great tips, great points. Yeah. All right. Well, let me go ahead and we'll start wrapping out the show here. Again, I just wanted to thank everyone that's been watching the show. We appreciate it. You know, if there's any other ideas or tips that you want to add to the war topic that we just discussed, you can add it to the comments. You can jump onto our Discord if you want to ask us any individual questions. So anything like that, definitely just reach out if you have any concerns, questions, feedback, suggestions, all that kind of good stuff. You can definitely reach out to us. So you got Menace. He's on his channel. Check out his channel at Menace MSF. Also, this video will be on the Mookie Gamer channel of YouTube. But till then, we'll catch you guys next week to another episode that we'll try to highlight. And good luck on the Blitz. Good luck on those Web Warriors. Take advantage of it as I'll be ending here in a few days. All right.
Craft.